What's up, everybody? It's your boy Meme here for breakfast. I had a couple sloppy joes from leftover sloppy joes that my parents had last night. For lunch, I didn't have anything, and for dinner, I had a Mexican casserole, like frozen meal, and that was pretty tasty. I also had some quesos. My mom and dad were making quesadillas, but they were going to be eating too late, and I would prefer to not eat after 6, and they were going to be eating after 6, so I just had something. Nothing else really going on today. Something cool I did this morning was I use a thing called Open Web UI on my nav server, and it makes it so then I can, instead of doing something like paying for ChatGPT Plus, which is like $20 a month to get non-unlimited access to their best models, I'm able to essentially use this thing that I self-host called Open Web UI, which is just an interface, and then I create an OpenAI developer account, and then I just get an OpenAI API key, and then I just plug the API key into Open Web UI, and then I could just use all their models with like pay-as-you-go pricing. So it's I pay for it per token, which is I describe it to like normal people as like per syllable, but that's not entirely accurate. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper. But one problem is that not all large language model providers use the same API sort of format that OpenAI does, and so because OpenWebUI only supports that API format, I'm not able to use like Anthropic models very easily through OpenWebUI. I can, like there's a function you can install that makes it work, but it's a little weird. Like I don't want to install like code onto my thing. Like it's weird, you know? And so just this morning when I was on the treadmill, I was watching a video about Claude 4, I think by T3GG, like Theo, and he was advertising this company called Open Router, and I usually ignore like those T3GG like Fireship ads, you know, but Open Router actually seemed really interesting, and it's essentially a company that does the heavy lifting for procuring API keys for large language models. So instead of like, and this is just like on the user end, like they do a bunch of other stuff too, like they make it so then like you have the best like source for a large language model, like where it's being hosted. I didn't really look into that because that's not what I'm interested in. But essentially the thing they do is they give you one API key, and with that API key, there were like over 300 endpoints for different large I don't think endpoints is the right term, but there are like 300 different like things, and they're all different large language models because they have everybody's, that's why it's called Open Router. They route everybody's API into theirs, so then you could just use whatever model you want through Open Router. And it is a little more expensive, but it's still less than the $20 a month I would be paying for ChatGPT Plus. So as long as it's under $20 a month that I'm paying, I don't really care. Like I pay as I go. So like if I could just not use ChatGPT for 6 months, or I could just not use a large language model for 6 months and I won't be charged. But you know, it's really, really nice. Here's an example of like just look at how many large language models I get. It's so crazy, and I can just enable any of them and they work. I mean, of course I'm not interested in like almost any of these. Like, oh yeah, man, I'm really interested in the drummer Valkyrie 49 billion parameters version 1, you know, like, but you know, it's just really cool to be able to get easily get like Anthropic models and just stuff like that without having to install weird functions. So I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, Claude looks interesting. Their stuff hasn't updated on LM Arena, but you look at one moment. Yeah, you look at artificial analysis, and it seems like Claude 4 isn't oh, hold on. Wait, one moment. Okay, never mind. Ignore what I said recently. The thing is that I don't really know what the quality of these Sonnet 4 and Opus 4 models are yet, so I'm not really using them in Open Web UI. Like I'm still using Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is like relatively cheap. Like it's cheap for how nice it is. And yeah, it's really, really nice. I recorded a very short video yesterday that I'm not even sure if it uploaded. Let me check really quick. Sorry for all the pauses. Okay, I did upload a video yesterday with just the worst thumbnail ever. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I hung out with my buddies yesterday, and it was cool. Okay, one sec, sorry. Okay, yeah, so I hung out with my buddies yesterday, and it was really cool because it was the same friends that I always sat. That's my parents talking in the background. The TV's loud, so they have to talk over the TV. I don't know why they don't just turn the volume of the television down, but, you know, anyway. I hung out with my friends yesterday, and it was the same friends who I sat with at lunch on throughout middle school and high school, and so it was really cool seeing them again. I don't see them too frequently because we're all like working and we're all doing school, and so it's cool that like when our schedules align, we're able to hang out. I actually initiated this hangout, which is weird because I never initiated a hangout with this group before, but the reason why was because I felt bad because I flaked on all the other hangouts, and so I felt obligated to do it. And you know, good thing I did feel obligated because it was a very fun time. We met up at the local park, and then we walked to a fish and chips place. We got chippy at the fish and chips, and that was pretty good. I love fish and chips. It's just some great food. We put some vinegar on there. It was so tasty. And then, you know, we went to walk back to the park, but then my buddy was like, hey, I know a way to the car. And we were like, okay. Like he was gonna take us a special route, and then he just took us to a park. But the park was really incredible. We stayed there for like an hour, which is crazy. I tend to find parks not too interesting. I just walk around and I'm like, yep, I'm in a forest, you know? You know, it was a lot of fun being with friends because there were all these fallen trees and they were all bouncy. Like you could sit on them and they would go, whoop, 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 you know, and it was like cool. And so, you know, we just played around with that. One of my buddies had to go do something for work really quick, but he came back when we were in the forest, and that was cool. You know, he's a really good friend of mine, so it was cool seeing him. And so, from the forest. Oh, I forgot to mention, after we did the fish and chips place, we went to a little store, and then I got a protein shake, and then we sat around and I drank my protein shake. And that's when my friend left, but then he came back when we were in the forest. So we were just hanging out in the forest, and then we decided to go back to the strip mall slash park, local strip mall slash local park where we met up. And then my buddy left, and then we all went to Five Guys, and I got a burger and some fries, which was expensive, but I don't eat out very often, so it was okay. Oh, and we met up with a friend there. We met up with a friend who was coming home from work, or something, or school or something, and it was cool. And then then my other buddy drove home, and then we all three walked home. By the end, it was just three of us, including me, so it was me and two other people. And then we just walked home, and it was really incredible. We saw ducks on the way home. It was actually really nice. It was a wonderful day. I wish I got home earlier, but you know, the only way to have done that would to have been to hang out earlier, but we had to start hanging out at 2 p.m. just because of how schedules worked out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Today I went to therapy, and yeah, bye.